Hey, I got a light, boy. Hey, I got a light. Hey, I got a light, boy.
Okay, hi, it's Norfolk Boy here. Keep on the trashing, and hopefully this is the very last part of building this Metcalfe wayside station that we've been working on up until now. And as you can see, we're getting pretty damn close now to finishing this little beauty. So the next part is to finish off the roofing really before we start doing some of the last bits and pieces that are going to be the trimmings that make it all look nice. So I'm going to cut all these out and we'll move on from there. Okay, so you've probably noticed there's just a little bit of a different angle with the camera now. Just thought I'd make a change from the same old other side. So I've cut all these bits out now. There's 3 altogether, 1, 2, 3. I'm just looking at the instructions here. It seems like this piece possibly goes first, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a dry test, as I call it, and try and figure out how it all works. Okay, so I've discovered that I've just forgot to glue this little bit that turns around and fits there like that, so I'd better do that right now. That's why I couldn't quite figure out how it all went. So I'm just going to run some glue down there and stick that little part in particular, which hopefully if I zoom in you can see. Made a mistake by not seeing where you should have done that in the first place really, but there you go, no harm done. So easy to miss things on this. I don't think I'm even getting any glue out here, so let's give that another poke with the old pin. That's the trouble with these little applicators. They're great when they're working, but you do have to keep them unbunged up, as we say in Norfolk. Right, okay. Let's have another go. Aha! And here it comes. Right, let that get a little bit sticky, and then I can stick that around, and then hopefully I can then move on to placing the roof on. Okay, so I figured this out. It's fairly simple really, is that these actually this time, not like usual, go on the inside edge of the roof, where normally, you know, on most of them they go on this top. So they go here and then leave this nice bit of brickwork, which is I've just noticed is pretty much shown in the picture. So yeah, this is I'll try this dry, and yeah, this all fits in lovely. So I'm now going to glue all those into place. Okay, so there's some glue there now, so just gently drop that into place and hold that there for a little while until it dries basically. And once that's dried and you can feel it getting taggy, then I can take my hand away and let it dry. Okay, so we've now got all the roof on, and the next piece that we're going to be doing is we're getting close to finishing off all the trimmings and that now to make it look all nice and finished off. So we've now got some capping stone strips to go on each one of these, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we've got what they call ridge tile strips, which are the ones that go across here. You've got a choice of different types. I'll show you those in a little while, but they go across these two here. Then we've got the chimney pot to make, and the little chimney spouts, or whatever you want to call them. I'll show you a nice easy way to how to do those, because they're quite fiddly. And yeah, all the little bits and pieces. So let's move on to that one. Okay, so I've got the 4, as they call, capping stones, just dry. They've got a little nick in the middle of where they have to be folded, and I'm just sitting them on dry just to make sure that I've got all the pieces that I need and where they need to go. There's one that's slightly short at this end, which goes to here obviously, so I know where they all go. I can glue them on. For this I am going to use a little slightly stronger glue. I know it smells, but there you go, because they have a tendency to pop back up again if you don't have something decent to, you know, stick them with. The other stuff is great, don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot longer to get tacky enough to be able to hold these down. So I'm going to use this stuff, which is the full solvent glue. Oh my god. But never mind, eh? And then I'll just let that get a little bit tacky, and then as soon as it's tacky I can just sit it on the top there like that and fold them in. Bing, until they go down. Hang on, I'm just going to pull that little piece off the end there. Want some nasty bits there. So a little bit of an edit there as I wait a little while, and then just sit that at the top. And as you can see, when you've left it a little while, straight away it just sticks. And I think you've got a little edge either side, so if you try and get it as much in the centre of the gables, the better. And then they look nice and neat and tidy. So that's the first one. Now for all the rest. Okay, so I'm a bit Bob Marley here now, a little bit high on the old glue. But as you can see, it's now give that that nice tidy finishing off effect and 3D effect. So that's those done. The next will be the ridge tile strips, they call them. Now they're all here and they give you plenty of them. You cut them to the size you want. So basically there's a line across the top there and a line across the bottom. You can just cut with your knife across there and across there. You don't have to do so many though, because you ain't going to need them all. I'm going to use this colour, although you can put this on to make them look a little bit different. But I think I'm going to stick to the greyish colour. You know, it's up to you really. Blue grey ridge tile. Oh, I'll get my words out again in a minute. Blue stroke grey ridge tiles you can pick, or red ridge tiles. Okay, so cut each strip required, length, fold the centre of the score line and fit on top of the roof. So that's as simple as that. That's what you do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So just a quick demonstration of these. The best way to do these really is to get the middle along the ruler there. You can see that, and then just fold them, or you can even sit on the edge like that and then start to fold them. I'm just going to hold this against me for a minute so you won't see for a minute. There you go, it's starting to you know, bend, and there we are. Now my method is, and most other people's methods is, but some of them use paint on a paintbrush, but I'm now going to get a grey felt tip and just run my felt tip along the middle there, where you can now see white where it's folded. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Yeah. I can just show you here, but if you just bend it apart as far as you can, get the tip and just go like that, and do that all the way along. I can show you. It then takes that white part away. Okay, so I've done that now, and I'm just going to put that on top, just so that I can work out whether it's bent enough. And it certainly seems to be, so I now need to tip. I'll get my words out again in a minute. I am now going to stick some glue onto that, let it dry off a little bit, and then push it straight onto the top there. Okay, so I've got my glue on. Now if I just sit that on the top and gently run my fingers along until I can feel it starting to stick down. And then as soon as I'm happy that it's pretty much got a grip, that's that job done. Now all I've got to do is the rest of the top parts of the roof, and then I can move on to the next stage. And when it comes to this particular part of the roof, when I do these tiles, I just give it, if I can show you there, a little kind of tip point like that, so that when it sits here, I can just zoom in on that, open the camera a little bit, oh, out of focus. You can then see that it sits on there rather neatly. And before I stick that down, I will do this piece first, and then I'll run that across. I will have to cut a little nick out there, and then that will sit in nice and neat over top. Hopefully that will all work, so let's see how it goes. So if I can just show you here, if it zooms in enough on it, I just cut that little nick out where I needed it to be, so that it just sits over top of that triangle part of the roof at the top there. So I'm just going to run some grey across that now and stick some glue on. Okay, so I'll just stick that one on. Don't worry too much about these. If you cut them wrong once, you do get plenty of it, so you can get another chance to redo it. You can always join some if it breaks or whatever, but don't worry too much. I haven't greyed this one out yet. I'll have to do it while it's on top. There we are. Yep, that's fitting okay, so I'll let that stick down and I'll run the grey felt tip across the top of that. So as that piece is on, I can now fit this piece that I cut, and as I hoped, that now has a nice little join there. And any white that might show just a teeny bit, you can just put your pen across like that. It just tidies it up a tiny bit. And there we go, makes them look a little bit like proper real tiles. Lovely job. Okay, so I'm putting the last piece of this on now. There we go. There, and as I said, if I can zoom back out again, they now give you plenty of this stuff, so you know I've got all that left over. And a matter of fact, I sometimes use this to go on top of walls that I build, you know, out of spare walls that are left over from some of these kits. And there's plenty of it, especially if you buy the platforms. The Metcalfe platforms have walls, and they seem to have plenty of extra walls that you always have left over, but not quite so many sort of top stone coverings. So these come in handy for that. They look okay. So you know they'll come in handy for something. So don't throw them away. Keep them. It's well worth keeping them. Okay, so we can now do the nice laser cut canopy, and that sits right across the front on those beams, just tucked slightly underneath, just like that, and that looks absolutely fantastic. I do love the look of that. So I'm now going to stick that on. I'm going to use some stronger glue here we go again, and some stronger glue on the edges of these beams because it'll take a while to grip, and if not I'll have to stand there with my fingers holding on it. So I'm going to use the stronger stuff. So here we go. I've also run some glue just along the edge there as well, where the main roof goes about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 millimeters over the support roof that was underneath, and that leaves that edge for this to stick to, and so that's great. So we can then sit that right on there. So I'm going to have a crack at that right now. It should just sit on that nice and neatly. There we go, and I can just leave that to dry and then turn it up the other way again, and that should be done. And I'll just go around all the rest of the edges. Super, looks great. Okay, so how great is that canopy looking, eh? I mean, that's just superb, isn't it? So I know that now that we're looking up here, we can see a few, you know, things like the little gap between some of these top bits of the roof. Well, they've supplied you with stuff to go along there. If not, you can always find your own. And also with some of these things, you always notice that there'll be a little bit of a gap in places down here and across here. So I'm going to come up with some, you know, that look like leading or whatever that runs across the rim there or something, so we can stop that. Because when you light these buildings up, if there is a little bit of a gap or something like that where, you know, it's all not quite just fitted properly, then you'll get light bleed through and it doesn't look too clever. So it's always worth putting something there. I'm not sure what it would look like on a real building, but I'm sure some of this ridge and stuff along the bottom here, or something black going along the bottom, or to look like lead or whatever, will suffice or do the trick. So I shall be doing that too. So the small chimney is fairly self-explanatory. Just got 3 little cards that you pull out and just stick one on top of the other and top of the other. Whew, I got all that out, and just pop that on the top there. And then I'll do the other one, which is fairly simple as well, which is just 3 or 4 bits of grey card stuck together, and then the chimney goes and gets wrapped around, which is this bit here, to make the actual shape of the chimney, and then the bit that's still card that sticks out at the bottom just slots in the top there. And then I'll show you exactly how I do my little funnels for the top. Just for an example, here's the other chimney that I've just stuck together and wrapped the bit around. All those bits of card that are stuck together, and then those bits of card that are stuck together slot inside the hole and down, and so does the rest, all drop into place. You can glue them or you can just sit them in there, it's up to you. Of course the top will be going onto this in a minute as well. The other chimney I noticed has got an extra one as well, which is good, that you sit on top. And there's also some capping, I call them capping stones, whatever you want to call them, small chimney tops to sit on top there too, so that's going to look fantastic. Okay, so I hope you can see the chimneys now and how great they look. That's superb. Now we're going to go with the funnels and the easy way to do those. Sheet itself, we've got the chimneys, the little chimney pots, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got to cut those out along the lines that they're showing, so I'll do that now. Okay, so buying some of these sticks are very handy for doing these chimney pots with. There we are, nice and round and about the right size. So but you know, you can get different sizes of these, but I just picked the size that seems to be pretty much the right size for it. I don't know, about 3mm, something like that. Anyway, what we need to do is just go to one of these and just with your finger start wrapping it around the stick until you just keep rolling it, your finger and thumb, and that will start to make the shape. And then just try and keep it as straight as you can, tight. When you come to the very end, you'll need some glue on there, so we'll put some on there now. You're going to get a little bit glue on your fingers, it's inevitable, but when you do roll it, be very, very quick, because your fingers can soon stick, and it can soon stick to the wood. So keep shifting it around and rolling it with your fingers until eventually just pull it off the end, and there you have your chimney pot. Voila, there we are. My fingers are a little bit gluey, so I've peeled a piece off there, but it's not a problem, because I'm going to show you in a minute what you do afterwards to make them look a bit sooty and old, but still, that's the general idea on how to do it. Just get that wrapped around the stick, slowly, slowly. A little bit of glue on the top part. And again, roll it round until it's joined, and then keep on rolling and moving it along the stick. If you get it a little bit out of line, don't worry, just keep manipulating it and moving it around, and then off it comes at the end, all nice and neat and tidy. Once you've done 1 or 2, you soon get used to it. Okay, so I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those tiny little things there, and what we've now got to do is stick those on top. So this is a little bit fiddly, but obviously the black line goes on the top part of it. Stick some glue on the top and then sit it on the top. I'm now going to do that. Alrighty, here we go. Oops. There we are. And all we've got to do is let that dry off. And now we've got to do the same here with 1, 2, 3 on the top, and job done. And okay, that's it. So get them as straight on top of those as you can, and then once you're done, they are black inside, but I like to get a little bit of black watercolour and a very small brush once they're dry, and just dip your brush in and keep going around on the inside and a little bit around the edges as much as you like, and then that will give you a little bit of a good effect on the if I can just show over here. It kind of makes them look like that. Makes them look like they've been used a little bit, if you see what I mean. Just an idea, you know. Don't have to do it, but it kind of gives it a little bit of extra vump. I'd like to do that with quite a lot of these buildings, really. Start to make them look a little bit more dirty and weathered, but I'll get around to that at some point, I'm sure. I did weather the tunnel, of course, with a bit of soot stuff. Black powder paint is what I used, actually. I can't think about it. So, yep. We've also got here are some signs and posters. We also had some spare doors if you wanted, some spare brick wall in case you wanted to finish off edges that you might not be happy with. I'm quite happy with the way my edges have turned out, but you know, that's all there if you want it. So I'm going to stick some posters and some signs on now, and show you a whole finished article in a moment. Okay, so before I just reveal the finished article, there's also some steps that you can make that will come in handy when you start doing the platform, which is my job next. And there's a few other bits and pieces, extra wall, as I said, and walls to go around the actual station itself. So putting them all to one side just for now until I get round to doing that part of it. But here it is, finished and done. And what a great little model it is. I've just got it sitting on these cassette tapes at the moment because it's keeping the wires that are underneath from sort of making it not sit properly. As you can see, I've put a few signs up. There's a gentleman's sign just there near the toilets. They didn't give you a lady sign, don't understand why. Put a few posters up. I tend not to go too mad with the posters. You put too many posters up, it look like you've just done it for the sheer hell of it. There's the way out poster just there, and a few more posters, and then we'll go around the side. As you can see, there's a few bits and pieces, and then if I can get round the back, yeah, and here's the back part of the station. And I've just put the booking office sign there and another sign on the wall. As I say, you can go as mad as you like with that. It's entirely up to you. I've done all the roof with some extra trimmings. There's one piece I've forgotten there that I better do at some point, but all in all, it's pretty much done. And now one final test just to see what it looks like lit up. Okay, so I'll just switch on the lights, turn that one off, and there we are. And hopefully you can see some people inside there, and the seating area and so forth in there. See if I can get a bit closer. Makes it look like there's something going on in there, and some light shining through the door that's open. And if I can turn this, there's a chap walking down the hallway. Yeah, and all in all, just that little extra effect. Turn the light back on, you can still see in there, nice red carpet. Yeah, all in all, I'm really pleased with it, love it. Great little models, and they look great when they're finished. Well, that's it, a little bit of shaky camera work there at the end, but that's the finished article. Just one piece I forgot to do, I'll just stick on in a minute around the back there. But all in all, pretty much done, and now it's on to the platform that it sits on. I'm really pleased with this model. I think these Metcalfe models are really fantastic, and you can add much more to them if you really want to. You can go as far as you like. I could weather this, I could do all sorts with it, really. You know, it's just great. They're just great little models, and you know, if you don't want a scratch build and you want something that's sort of already to be put together, then these are great models just for you. I am going to do some scratch building later, but for the meantime, I've really enjoyed making this model, and I hope this video with my mistakes as well as everything else has kind of helped you, or some of the people that haven't done these things before, learn a little bit on how to do them. That's just the way that I knock them together. I'm sure there's people out there that do a much better job than I do, but I love these models, and thanks for watching, and until I make another video, it's Norfolk Boy over and out. Keep on the trashing.
Got a load.